show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
You guys have any questions before we move on? Anything you want to chat about?
Good morning, everyone. This is Goldn Bronze. We're kicking it with Golden Swan Cadre. We are doing part 2 of beauty standards with Black women, only this time we have the male opinion. We had so much feedback and controversy about the first one that we decided to carry on with the second one. So Golden Swan Cadre is a 501c3 organization that advocates against domestic violence and for women, well, especially for women, and for mental health issues as well as self-nurturing and mindfulness. What we do is we try to help women that are victims of domestic abuse become survivors and thrivers. Part of that is your physical health, your mental health, and your personal appearance. Beauty standards in Black women is a big topic, and we decided to carry it forward. I am going to introduce to you my 2 male guests and my co-host. My co-host will take it from there. We have with us Michael Bailey, who is in the healthcare profession, a veteran of the United States military. I forget which branch. I'm sorry about that. And he loves women, and he has his perspective of what beauty standards in Black women should be. And we wanted him to share that with us today. Also, we have with us our photographer for Golden Swan Cadre, James Morrell of Indigo Photography. Of course, he has an eye for beauty, and he has his perspective of what that standard is. Being a photographer, he sees a lot of different people, men and women, children alike, but especially women. And he has an expertise to wear what shoes to put on because he's done it. And there were times when I was like, pink shoes with this, and it was popping in the picture. So I've asked him to join us with his perspective. And last but not least, we have my co-host, Mickey G, who is a Golden Swan Cadre herself. She is a life speaker and a motivational speaker. She also has done runway modeling for what do you call it? Bigger women. I don't know how to properly say that, but has expertise with beauty in Black women. And I am turning it over to her. So thank you, Mickey. It's all yours.
You're welcome. Good day, everyone, and welcome to our podcast talking about the standard of beauty for Black women. We're so glad to have the gentlemen join us this morning to talk about their opinion about the standard of Black women's beauty. And I understand both of these men love women, and that's why you're here. And of course, we love men, so we want to know what you think about the standard of beauty for Black women. So let me ask you this. How do you describe the beauty of a Black woman in general? And then we'll get into the specifics. Michael, I'm going to start with you.
Well, from my perspective, Black women, as they come into themselves, I think that they, from observation and conversations, I believe that they understand that there are the model that all women are made from. And that's something that's pretty new to the understanding. It was all European standards, but Black women are the model that everyone tries to strive to. And all you got to do is look at the plastic surgeons, look at the conditions of what they're trying to do, the physical attributes as well, lips, hips, and derriere.
Yes, yes. Thank you for your perspective on that. There has been a standard of beauty established for us that isn't us, and then when our standard of beauty, someone else introduced it again, but they were not African American descent, then it became a new standard of beauty, and therefore it ends up in the surgical suites like that. And as Karen stated earlier, I've been a curvy model, and embracing being statuesque and curvy. It's now something that society embraces instead of despises, but oftentimes it's trying to be captured by people who don't actually have that right now. So thank you for your perspective on that. I'm going to turn the microphone over to James, who is our photographer and who has another perspective on the eye of beauty for Black women and all women, of course, but today we're specifically talking about Black women from your perspective. So James, what do you have to say about what do you think beauty is in a Black woman?
Well, first of all, in a woman, period, it is her femininity. I think that femininity is a power. I think it is the part of the height of the power of a woman being a woman is the fact that she is in her best self when she is feminine. You're right when you talk about the women being curvy, and it's always been a thing that has been unreachable to a lot of people. So the envy was there because they saw their men were interested beyond what they wanted. There was a time where models used to walk down the runway, and the more they tucked up under their buttocks, they tucked it up under, the more beautiful they were. Then Black women came along. The moment Black women arrived to this country, I could say it's been a problem. It's been a problem because you didn't fit any mold. You didn't look like anybody. And there is I know we like to throw the term healthy around, but beauty is primarily based on, as far as men are concerned, health, because can we just be honest? We like round buttocks because it looks like health. We like ample breasts because it looks like health. We like flat stomachs because it looks like health. And most men never think about this, but this, in my line of work, this is what I have to look at all the time. And everybody doesn't have it, and everybody doesn't have to have it, but this is why that's a standard. So when women want to know why that's a standard, it looks like we can go take it back to just the basic genetics. It looks like you will be a good partner. It looks like you will bear children well. It looks like we will have a happy life together. And these are the type of things, right or wrong. That's I think what most men are looking at.
Excellent answers, gentlemen. Excellent answers. So do you also feel that our culture plays into our standard of beauty, what we reach for as far as our culture is concerned, because that is specific to African American women, and our culture is very unique. Could you speak to that? We'll start with Michael.
Yes, I believe that, and this is something that's just recently, I'd say in the last 50 years, that culture as trying to find identity as Black women as well as Black men in this country. We were introduced to this country unwillingly, to be diplomatic about that, and so all of our standards were forced on us. They were given to us, and and in some instances beat into us, and then our natural attributes were basically ironed over and tried to be flattened out. So, like I say, in the last 50, 60 years, we embraced it. We embraced the motherland. We embraced who we are. And the whole idea of I am Black, I am proud, I am who I am with all of my attributes. And that became a center, more like a calling sign. And a lot of people at different levels of their life, they didn't approach it. And it seems like we still are uneven, whereas some women still don't approach it. Some men still don't approach it. And I think that more and more women are coming into the fold, so to speak. They're basically looking at themselves, and that's why women are becoming more natural looking. Whatever their hair is, this is the way they wear it. Whatever features they are, this is the way they do it. Sometimes it's not pleasing to other folks. Sometimes it is. And again, like I said before earlier, is that I believe that you should do whatever you feel like doing, but sometimes it's aggravated or agitated or overstated, so to speak. I hope I didn't embellish too much.
No, absolutely not. You're here because we're interested in what you have to say. And I'm going to turn it to James, and then I want to know what Goldn Bronze, what your perspective is on the things that have been said. So, James, could you also answer that question about the culture of Black women's beauty a little bit more?
Absolutely. So we can take this all the way back to when we were first brought to this country. We brought to this country because, first of all, they wanted slaves. But then I don't know if it was before or when we got here, they started seeing the assets and the things that, okay, well, these people are different. It's not your average. We didn't just bring over some people. We brought over some different types of people. And if no one else noticed, the slave owners noticed things about women that stood out, was nothing like they've ever seen before. To the point, most of us know about, if you don't know, look up Sarah Bartman in history. This is a woman who was built like a typical plus size woman today, who they put her body parts after she passed away in a museum so that people can look at. And just to speak to how inhumane it was, these were on display till I think 60s, 70s, for people to look at until someone decided, no, we got to take those down. That's not right. But women's beauty standards, as far as Black women have been told what to look like, how to look, what not to do, what to do for generations. We've been told about nappy hair, about kinky hair, about being ashy, and all these terms that we grew up with that demeans people. And we have found a way to talk about, I grew up hearing people say things like, oh, you a black cookie, or you black this, you black this, and you black that. And it was an insult to call you a black something, because if they put black on the front of it, that means you were really dark and you should be ashamed of yourself. And you need to live low because you're dark. Now that most of the time came from our people. It came from our people because that's what we were taught to do. Now you have Black women who know more and they understand more about themselves. I think somewhere in the 60s, 70s, when we started to understand that Black is beautiful and that natural hair is beautiful, and then times change and then trends change and things, come and go. So now it's like across the board. You just, anything goes. It's from blonde straight hair, long hair, to weaves, to short afros, to male cuts, dreadlocks, all kinds of things. So I'm with Michael. I think it's whatever makes a woman feel comfortable. The thing is, for me, is that as long as she knows that this is her best self, not for somebody else. It's her best self. When I do photography, I try to pull out a person's best self, not try to make them look like somebody else. I want them to see what's their best self for them. If your nose is wide, it needs to stay wide because it's beautiful. If your lips are full, they need to stay full because they're beautiful. But I want that person to see that and understand that for themselves.
I like that. I like that. Goldn Bronze, do you have a perspective on what the gentlemen have said thus far?
Yeah. Yes, in the 1960s, somewhere around the end of it, was when Black women first were able to enter into the employment sector. Before that, they were always the men's home, and how they appeared didn't matter that much. But when they started trying to assimilate into Western society to get jobs, they were told that different, and that wasn't the look that they needed to have. So it became like an inner self-esteem thing with Black women. We felt like look like them. And so it became a mental thing that we felt like in order to be accepted and appreciated and respected, we had to take on the European characteristics. Later in the 70s, during the I'm proud to be Black moment, we came back to our own culture. Like Black hair is beautiful, kinky hair is nice. We went through that phase where we began to accept and appreciate who we were as melanated people, and that we didn't have to look white or act white to the 80s. And then the culture, like James said, shifted again. And then we go through the 90s and the 2000s with thinking we had to perm our hair and iron it straight and all that. And then we're back into the 21st century where we're back to our being proud of our own, what am I trying to say? Our own kinky hair. And we don't all have kinky hair. That's just the thing. Some of the other day were grade 4, 3, 2A. I didn't know what any of that was. I don't even know what grade of hair my natural hair is. But all I'm trying to say is we came back in the 21st century to loving who we are as we are and not trying to be like somebody else. And that's where we're at now. That whoever we are, however we wear our hair, our makeup or whatever, that's how we feel good about ourselves. And that's what should be appreciated. And I yield the mic.
I love that. I love that because we're ever evolving as people, first of all, and as women, we're ever evolving because we have options. We have lots of options as to how we look. Just like Goldn Bronze was saying, our hair is curly, coily. Some say kinky, some say nappy, which I think sometimes nappy has a negative connotation because it was used against us as a weapon. But our hair has texture and it defies gravity. It doesn't always hang straight and long. It stands up and it announces itself when it comes into the room. We've worn our hair different colors, different styles, braids, twists, locks, afros, straight, all the different things because we have versatility in our hair. And that is a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. And not all Black women look the same. We're all different shapes and sizes, but there's room for everyone because all of us are beautiful. And it's important that we know that inside of ourselves. Michael, do you have any other comments regarding those standards of beauty, even the way we dress, the way we're built? Do you have any other comments about that?
I just want to kind of go back a little bit what James was saying, and I agree wholeheartedly with what he said. and how he said it. And I just also want to spring on to Goldn when she said about the errors. And a lot of times we had to change, even though we didn't want to, is that was the only way to be accepted, not only in society, but in the workplace. And just recently, they had to institute laws, actually pass laws to keep hair discrimination out of the workplace. You couldn't wear your hair a certain way, even though you're inside a building, not seen by anyone. You're behind a cubicle. You're on a phone, and of course, your hair was an issue with some people. And I saw that working in the insurance industry. I saw that working in corporate America, and my idea was to, you know, I got in so much trouble because I would speak out, you know, what's the problem? And so many times I was told to shut up and stay in my place. And of course, that didn't go over very well. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. That legislation was called the Crown Act, that
Yes.
that allowed women to come to work in whatever natural state their hair was, because just because it did meet the European standard of beauty did not mean it was beautiful. This is the way it grows out of our heads. And so not wanting us to have our hair the way it naturally comes is, if that offends them, then our face offends them too. Our stature offends them, and everything about us offends them, because that's who we are. And that also breeds microaggressions in the workplace, where we're picked apart based on what our hair looks like and what we look like. This is who we are. This is who we are. Take it or leave it. That's who we are. James, can you weigh in on that?
Oh, yes, I can. Yes, I can. I was waiting for you to come to me. Because this is something that I deal with a lot when in photography. What I see a lot more often than I think people even know themselves sometimes. It's easy for me as a photographer when someone wants to take pictures, or someone ends up having to take pictures when they don't want to. So I'm at an event and I'm taking pictures. I can see abuse a mile away. I can see it a mile away. I can see a person who even wants to take pictures who they'll say, I don't take good pictures. I'm not photogenic. And sometimes it's just, that's what they believe. But then there are other times when you see this person's been beat down about their looks. This person has been beat down by somebody, a man somewhere, whether it's their ex, whether it's their current, whether it's their dads, whether it's their workplace, like you said, whether it's like Michael said, they go through these extremes to keep you from being who you are, what naturally comes out of your head. You know, what other race of people hair grows like a tree and just out to the sun? You know, what other race of people does that? And so if you see that and you don't understand it, usually what people in this country try to do is control everything they don't understand. And so yes, they started making it where we don't want you to do anything that's distracting to us. What's distracting to us? You're not looking like us. You know, and can you imagine a woman walking down a woman working on a job, and her behind is her natural behind, whatever size she is, whether she's small or whether she's large, she has this behind her that doesn't fit in with everybody else's behind. She's supposed to make her behind fit in. Is she supposed to make her lips fit in? You know, and here's the other part of that is that we all have a lot of Black women who may not have the large behind, who may not have the typical, what we call typical standards of a Black woman. She may not have large lips or large breasts or something like that, or the thick legs and all that. She may not have that. And so we as a people, we tend to put her in a category. Then she deals with some type of abuse because we only have one standard, you know, That's why I love what I do, because it's more than one standard of beauty. So it is all of us have to learn how to see beauty in each other as we are. And as we are, if somebody wants to wear a wig today, you look good. If somebody wants to wear their natural hair today, you look good. Do you feel good? Because if you feel good, you're going to push all of that beauty out, and we'll see it. One last thing I'll say is that I see a lot of women who want power, and I've seen them go toward, in order for me to have power, I need to be more manly. I need to be more like a man. I need to give, let me deepen my voice a little bit. Let me talk to you like this. And it's not beauty. It's like you're missing your whole power. And I'm not saying femininity is being weak and being a toy for men, but femininity is a God-given gift that I don't believe anybody else is supposed to have. I think it is a gift, but if you pass on it, somebody's going to take it because they see the power in it. So my goal is for women to see that power, not only in their femininity, but in their beauty as well.
That is very powerful. I want to step into where the origins of low self-esteem may have come from in Black women. And I have a thought that it happens probably in school, in middle school, in elementary school. But before we go into that, Goldn Bronze, do you have a comment about what the gentleman said? And then we'll come back to that.
No, go ahead. I did want to touch on other topics besides hair, though, if we could, like what we discussed.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. We'll do that.
I yield the mic.
Thank you. So in school, I think sometimes we're picked apart, and not only by hair, but socioeconomically. If someone's not dressed a certain way, if they don't have the latest shoes, if they don't have the latest outfit, if they don't have a certain thing, when we're younger, we're picked apart. And so that grows into poor self-esteem as we become adult women. So as Black people, that happens. There's a lot of competition, etc. So gentlemen, could you speak to even your experiences as Black people, or even what you've seen in Black women that you know that their self-esteem was picked apart when they were little girls?
Well, go ahead, Michael.
Yes, I'd like to jump in on that. I agree with what you said, that it starts early, but I think it starts in the home. I think that society has pressed mores and ideals onto folk, and it's been passed on generation to generation. And so as growing up in a home with predominantly females and working in a profession, my whole career is dominated by females, I saw it started early in life. My sisters getting their hair straightened and before they went to school, and they had to be pristine, and all of these things I think starts early in life, and it's because it's been forcibly handed down. It's been beat into parents and grandparents and into their children, and I think that the 50s, the 60s and the 70s basically was like they were breaking out of this cocoon, and they were saying, my melanin is beautiful and I'm not going to let anybody suppress me at all. And it caused a ripple. It caused a ripple because, number one, white America wasn't ready for it. Number two, corporate America definitely wasn't ready for it. And it just, and I have to go back to my sister Angela. She basically stood up and said, I'm a woman from Alabama, and I saw it firsthand. And I moved to California, and it was a little bit more open. And she just pretty much And I just saw she just celebrated her birthday, and with that head full of gray hair, it's still all natural. I love her. I got a chance to meet her several times and speak with her, and she was a deep woman then, and even more now. I just wanted to bring those points to the forefront. I think it starts in a home, even way before we get out into schools and society. It browbeats you down. I think your parents do as well.
Excellent point. Excellent point. Thank you for that. And I have seen you're referring to Angela Davis, I'm assuming.
Angela, yes, I'm sorry.
Yes, that's fine. That's fine. I've seen her on Masterclass, and she is still as powerful now as she was then.
Fire.
Fire. James, what's your opinion on this subject?
Well, I appreciate him bringing up Angela Davis because it's somebody that I saw as a kid, and I didn't know much about her, but heard about her. I'm glad she's still around, so we can kind of learn from her still. And
80.
women like her. He's 80. Wow, didn't know that.
She's had a birthday.
Oh man, amazing! Happy birthday to her. So yeah, I see, and I appreciate this conversation so much because we as a man, as a Black man, and a man who's been married, my first wife was a dark-skinned female, and I thought was beautiful. I've been married twice, by the way. I don't want to say my first wife like I got 10 of them. But she was dark-skinned, and her nickname was Cookie. And so I thought it was okay. She's real short, like 5'1". And I thought, okay, they call her Cookie because she's little, she's cute, and all that. Okay, I get it. No big deal. Till one day, while I was married to her, I asked her, how'd you come to be named Cookie? Well, she explained that she was the youngest of, I think, 6 kids, and she was the only one that was dark-skinned. So when they saw her, they said, oh, she looks like a little black cookie, and didn't realize that she had been carrying the pain of feeling less than her siblings her whole life because she was darker skinned, had more melanin, closer to original people. No one told her at all how to value herself and her beauty. And I think that's a very common, typical thing. The other thing I wanted to say is that I think a lot of times in this country, Black women as well, I won't say especially, but Black women as well have been told what to look like from men. Men have dictated what women should look like, to the point where women go get surgery now to be at exactly what men want. They go get serious, severe, painful surgeries I hear that the gastric bypass surgery is severe, and then the skin removal is severe. And I hear that the BBLs is severe, and the breast augmentation is severe, the lip injections. Women of every race is doing this based on what men like, and they will do everything to their bodies, tattooing here and there, all of these different things to see if men like it. Like, do you like this? Do you like that? I'm gonna do this for you, and negating the wealth and value of their hearts and their minds that we also love and appreciate. Real men see real things about women. These other guys, that's who a lot of times these women have to perform for you because they're out front. They're always out front telling women what to do, how to be, what they like, what they don't like, in music and everything else. And it's unfortunate. By the time a woman gets to a real man, she's either beat down or sad.
Well, thank you for that, sir. Goldn Bronze, you have the floor. Is there anything you'd like to add, ma'am?
Yeah, very simple question to the two gentlemen. And Michael, you can go first, and then James, because he talks a little more. Can you tell me in a small, brief discussion, what to you is beauty in Black women? What do you look for? Substance or physical, or just go a little bit more in depth on what beauty in Black women is from your perspective. Thank you. I yield the mic.
Thank you for that question. I'm going to say right off the bat, my standard and my outlook has evolved over the years. Initially, it was a physiology. It was the physical side, but as I got a little older, and it was pretty early in my life, but as I evolved, I got married early. It was about confidence and intelligence, and the beauty was nice. It's like window shopping. You know, you see lots of pretty things in the window, but you don't necessarily want those per se. So I figured that intelligence and self-worth, all of those things were more important than actual physical attributes, because going back to the dumb blonde stereotype, I just didn't want the pretty face and no substance. I think it was a song made. I think it was Engelbert Humperdinck. It says, "After the loving, what's left?" So if you look at just the physiology and no other substance, then you kind of lose 99% of the person.
Okay. Ready for me? So I agree. 100% agree. It's like one of my favorite places to go hang out sometimes is a coffee shop. And sometimes I'll go to that coffee shop because I'll look in the window. The windows, they have it decorated nice and everything. And once I get in, if you smell coffee, if it's warm in there, the seating is inviting and everything, it makes you want to stay. It's the same type of thing. I think what's on the outside draws me first. So their appearance draws me first. Not necessarily does she have to have all those standards that a lot of men like. It's what I like. So that draws me first. Once I get to know her or meet her, immediately the confidence and all that I'm drawn in. So I think it is initially the outward look, and then definitely the confidence in who she is that makes a man want to stay.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Okay,
So,
thank you
go ahead.
for that. One more question. So when you see a woman, the first thing that you look at is the package on the outside, or do you stand back to see what her demeanor is and how she carries herself and how she articulates, or is it the physical? And I think Michael answered the question. I think I'm asking James because he said her appearance, but I just want a little clarification because I did hear Michael say he looks at the intelligence and how a person carries herself. James said it was the appearance. So I'm just asking, is that the first thing that you notice is how a woman looks on the outside, or do you kind of try to get to know her first to see what kind of person she is before you determine that? Because beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and a lot of people have different standards, and that's why we're having this program.
Right. I think that
yield the mic.
Yes, I think that what we see on the outside, a lot of times, if you've been around long enough as a man, you can see pretty much what's on the inside. So you look at her outward appearance, and sometimes you can see the confidence. You can see the scars. You can see way more. And so it's sometimes it's not just the curves of her body. You want to see whether this is going to be a good match for you. And then just like women can, you can look at a man from across the street and tell whether this is going to be a good idea or not. So that's part of what I mean. We're attracted to beauty, and I think it's natural for men to be attracted to beauty. That's part of who we are. That's our DNA. Our DNA is to be attracted to physical attributes of a woman. But that doesn't mean excuse me, that doesn't mean that we're only attracted to the physical algorithm. We lose our minds. That means if you get a certain age, you start to understand what you're looking at. If you're looking at pain, it's dressed up. If you're looking at good health, and if you're looking at a good partner, you can see it immediately on some women. So that's what I meant by that. It's not just physical, because I know a lot of guys think that way, but yeah. I hope that answers your question.
It does. Thank you. Because women are emotional, because we don't just we look at that person treats me, talks to me, matters more than that exterior package. So I just know there is a difference in how we view men versus how men view women. We'll take them pot belly, bald headed, and everything as long as they treat us right. But a man won't take a pot belly, bald headed woman. So.
Sure. So can I comment on that one? Can I respond to Goldn Bronze? Because listen, I get that, because men and women want different things. For women, what looks like love to you is security. And if it looks like it can bring you security, you know what I mean? For us, it's completely different. We don't look for security from you. This is why I have an issue of I'm a strong black woman. That's what he likes. It's like we don't look for women. Am I right, Michael? We don't look for women that are strong.
Exactly, and that's been the problem. And working in a predominantly female career my whole life, I have been privileged to lots of conversations, and that basically kind of screwed my way of thinking about women, and that was a big focus in the way I evolved. And I, like anybody else, I like nice things. I like things that are pleasing to the eye, but sometimes, that old saying, everything that looks good ain't good for you, and I have known and still know a bunch of ladies, and a lot of them are old nurse friends of mine. I still have tons of nurse friends of mine, and nothing romantic or anything. That's, we get together and we talk. I listen to them sound off about men, and they listen to me sound off about women. And that's one of the things that I feel so grateful for in my life, that I've been privileged to sit and actually get to pick the brains of women without even having to try. Because, once they feel comfortable with you as a person, they just spill it all off to you. And I've been very, very fortunate to get views from a lot of different women, from a lot of different walks of life, and not just black women, just women that are I won't say trans, because I didn't know a lot of trans people before, but a lot of gay women as well. I had a lot of gay women that were coworkers and bosses even. And so I have taken all of that into my library, so to speak, and I have really cataloged that, and that basically the way I approach women is based on all of the things that I've learned over my 40 some years in the field. And it goes back even before I was nursing. It goes back to 69. My mom was a nurse. I mean, and I grew up in a household full of women, and I have 4 sisters and a mom and a grandmother that stayed with me until I was 15 years old. And almost all of my relatives are females. There are very few males in the family. I was just dominated by women, so I learned to hear them even against friends, male friends, you're acting like a woman, not necessarily. I listened to a woman. I was raised by a woman. I had to learn very hard to be socialized by a man. A woman socialized me. A woman raised me. And so I'm a little bit more attuned. How you?
Excellent. It sounds like you're saying it's also spiritual. It's not just the physical that you're seeing. It is the spiritual attraction you have to a woman, her confidence, and how she carries herself.
Definitely.
You could almost see it even in her grooming when she's approaching you. If she stands up straight, there's confidence, and that draws you. So, gentlemen, we've enjoyed this conversation, and thank you for your time. I'm going to turn it over to Goldn Bronze to close it, but we do thank you so much for your perspective.
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it.
Never long enough. Thank you. Nice to meet you, Michael.
My pleasure, James.
I'd like to also add on to what my co-host Mickey G stated, that we're very grateful and thankful that you joined us this early Saturday morning, giving us your time. I know that there's any place that you could have been, other places that you could have been besides here with us on our podcast. So we very much appreciate the male perspective of beauty in Black women. And follow Goldn Swan Cadre on Facebook at Goldn Swan Cadre. We have an internet website, which is Instagram as the official _ Goldn Swan Cadre. Again, we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and for women's health issues, including mindfulness. We do request that you donate to our cause. We are also, I need to say, we are now sponsored by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Texas, and we do ask for donations. You can send those to $ Goldn Swan Cadre on Cash App and Chime and PayPal if you would like to donate to us. Also, you can do so through our website. Again, that is www.panels for attending with us today. We do know that you could have been anywhere. We appreciate it. We love you very much. I want to say to the people out there, we love men. We just advocate against domestic violence. We are survivors, both of us. We are thrivers. And now we are paying forward to help other women who are currently in that situation. If you would like to know more about what we do, you can go to our Facebook page and look at our vision, mission, and purpose, and get a detailed explanation of what all Goldn Swan Cadre does for the community. Again, I want to thank you, James. I want to thank you, Michael. I love you both. Thank you for coming. Mickey G, as always, thank you too. You guys, we're out.
Thank you. Nice meeting you guys both.
Same.
Take care, everybody.